However, this month is really exciting, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. Hello everyone, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Leia, and tonight we're going to cook some dinner. This month is going to be totally different because normally I have this giant meal planner, and normally I plan breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast and lunch are just the same 7 meals on repeat. We can make whatever we feel like on the day. We're not married to this. And same with the dinner meals. We can scramble them up as we wish. But I like using this because it helps me make sure that I'm not cooking, a disproportionate amount of one kind of protein, because sometimes you can lean on, oh, let's cook something with ground beef because it's easy, or we can just eat a ton of steak. So this helps me make sure that we're not eating, that we're responsibly rationing, I guess, if you will, our meat freezers. However, this month is really exciting, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. For dinner tonight, I'm doing a glazed salmon, like an Asian glazed salmon, and I'm going to serve it on a bed of rice and a bok choy and carrot. I have like thinly sliced carrots, and it's gonna be a bed of like a bok choy carrot stir fry over rice. So I have some recipes, I'll link them below. I'm using the fish one pretty closely. However, the bok choy one, I'm definitely improvising because it calls for some veggies that I don't have. And the whole point is I want to use this. I don't want to be going to the grocery store to buy extra things. So this is the Alaskan Gold salmon from Azure. It is skin on. I've never used it before, and we're gonna see if we like it. So the first step though is I'm gonna mix up this marinade. And while this is supposed to sit for 30 minutes, and then we can do everything else. So it needs to go first. So I have 2 reasons why I'm not using my meal planner the way that I normally do this month. The first is a small reason. I just want to be able to adjust to whatever is coming out of the garden. We have a small garden, but still there are some things like this bok choy that have just pushed their way to the top of the priority list, and I don't always know what to plan for. So I'm gonna keep things flexible, and I'm just gonna write in the meals that I make as I make them to make sure that I can keep a record of what proteins I'm using, and that way I'll still be accountable. So here's some garlic, and I'm gonna add this chili garlic sauce and some oyster sauce. Let's see, it also calls for soy sauce and some ginger. So the second reason that I'm not using my meal planner is actually a really big reason. My husband is getting medically retired from the Marine Corps this month. It's been about 10 years that he's been in, our whole marriage he's been in. And so this is a really big change for our family. And he is actually pretty much off work for this whole month. If you're unfamiliar with the way the military works, you actually get a pretty generous amount of leave compared to a civilian or government job. And when you transition out of the military, you either have to sell your leave or take your leave, or some combination thereof. So my husband is able to take a lot of leave right now. He's gonna be with us for pretty much this whole month, and I wanna stay flexible in what we're cooking, if we wanna go do something fun or special, that sort of thing. So I don't wanna make too many plans. So lastly to this marinade, I'm gonna add some soy sauce. And that's pretty simple. I'm just gonna stir it up and then add the fish fillets. I'm gonna keep all these sauces out because we need a lot of them for the bok choy stir fry. This transition is really exciting because we've never really been able to put down roots anywhere because the military moves you so much. And I keep saying, I'm just ready to, plant some fruit trees or something, which you obviously can't do when you move all the time. Said to do it in a shallow dish, but it's, I don't know how to get these all in here, and I'm not even making as many as the recipe calls for. Okay. That should do it. While that fish is marinating, I am going to start some rice. This is just gonna be normal rice. I do a 1-to-2 ratio of rice to water. So 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water. I bring it to a boil, then reduce to a simmer and cook for 10 minutes. Works for me almost every time. I don't even know what kind of rice we get. We get it from Azure. I guess it's a long grain of some kind. For the sauce that goes on the bok choy stir fry, it calls for tamari, rice vinegar, lime juice, maple syrup, ginger, garlic, and sesame oil. I'm gonna use, well, it calls for honey or maple syrup, and I'm gonna opt for maple syrup. We get this in bulk from Costco. And then I do have rice vinegar. We also get that in bulk from Azure. But I don't have tamari, and I think that's pretty similar to soy sauce, so I'm just gonna use soy sauce. We need 1.5 tablespoons of the soy sauce. Two tablespoons of the rice vinegar. I buy this in the gallon container and I just refill this as needed. I'm gonna grate this garlic in here. Calls for 1 garlic clove. Oh no. But I have some pretty wimpy garlic cloves, so I'm gonna do 2 of them. There we go. Ginger. What's a 1/2 teaspoon of fresh? And I have dried, so I'm just gonna do an 1/8 teaspoon of dried. 1/2 teaspoon of maple syrup. I'm just gonna eyeball this. I have a teaspoon measure here. Probably a little too much, but I don't think it's gonna mess it up. I think my lemon juicer is dirty, so I'm just gonna squeeze it and try to find any seeds. This is a really hard lime. And I don't need a ton. I only need about a teaspoon, so, which is good because I think that's all I'm getting out of this thing. I'll use this other half for, you know, slices for serving. Squeeze it over the top. And then I need sesame oil. I forgot to get that out. 1/2 teaspoon of that. I do have a 1/2 teaspoon, just now noticing. And that's that. Pretty simple. We'll set that aside until we're ready to use it. We can get most of these sauce ingredients put away so they're not in our way. Over on the stove, I've got a pot heating up that we're gonna cook all our veggies in. But first, I need to chop this bok choy. The recipe calls for baby bok choy, but I don't have baby bok choy. I have full-grown bok choy. Not totally sure how to chop it, but it does cook down very well. I was surprised the other day when I cooked it to see how well it cooked down. So I'm not really worried about this being too much. I'm gonna prep a tray for the salmon. The instructions are a little confusing, so I'm sort of doing my own thing. I'm gonna get some foil. This is the If You Care brand foil, and I'm honestly not a fan. It's hard to tear it. The teeth don't have any, like it's cardboard, so the teeth are really not up to the task, and it's also just a weird size. I feel like I'm always pulling more than I need. So the recipe said that the salmon might stick if you line your pan with foil or something, but I'm gonna spray this really well, and if it sticks, it's just gonna be the skin, so I think I'm okay with that. And then, this is new, I just implemented this week. It's a refillable spray bottle, so we can have like an aerosol type oil situation. We filled this with avocado oil, and that way we don't have the chemicals from the store-bought stuff. I'm gonna add in the bok choy. Now I know this is not exactly the right pan for this, but it's okay, it's gonna get the job done. I don't have a nice wok, and I didn't want to have to be so careful trying to stir it in my little, you know, frying pan type dealy, my skillet. Here on this tray, I've got these carrots, or this cutting board rather. I just did this with a carrot peeler. Yes, it is.
I'm gonna drink it. Can I drink all of it?
You can have some. Then we're also gonna add a healthy chunk of scallions. These were homegrown and frozen. Then I'm also going to get the salmon ready. It's gonna go in the oven under the broiler. I'm gonna get a brush to get this glaze evenly spread. Just gonna spread that on top there. All right, everything is done. I'm just gonna stir up this rice. And serve it up. The salmon ended up broiling at 500 for a little while. I kind of lost track because I switched to just taking the temperature, but it was probably about 10 minutes. Here is our bok choy carrot mixture on our bed of rice. Hey, that didn't stick at all. Awesome. And the salmon. Looks great. All right, thank you all so much for joining. I will see you all tomorrow in the next video. Oh boy.